I think when you're a player in Australia, everyone sort of looks up to the Renegades as like the guys that really like paved the way for Australian CSGO.
Now I live in Detroit, and it's like an hour outside of Detroit City, but it's a pretty cool place here. It's far away from home.
Originally it was Las Vegas, not Detroit, but Detroit is a lot better than Las Vegas. It was pretty surreal, to be honest, because I always wanted to do something like that as a job. It was kind of like, thank God we got the opportunity. Let's take it.
To move into a gaming house with them is just like crazy.
Daily schedule would be like waking up at probably about 10 to 11. Probably just get some breakfast in, go to the gym or something like that, and then from about 2 to 4 o'clock we start theory sessions with the whole team, which will be going over what went wrong in our strats, how we can fix it, what we can improve on. And then from about 5 till about maybe 10 o'clock at night, we'll just be playing other teams.
I think we have definitely a different vibe to most of the teams. We come from Australia, so we definitely have that cultural aspect, and everyone's pretty laid back in terms of outside of the game.
They love team times. Obviously the best candy in the world, they say.
When I came over, I brought over 2 or 3 packets of Tim Tams and mint slices, and they were gone within a week.
Welcome to a very special edition from the Gfinity Arena. We've got Perth Ground Zero coming up against Renegades. We've got Renegades back in the country, and it was a massive opportunity for one of our Elite Series teams to get in an exhibition match against the nation's top team.
Absolutely. I mean, for Ground Zero, like you mentioned, it's a great opportunity for them to get some game time against one of the best teams that we have in our whole region, let alone in the global stage. So, awesome stuff from them, and really grateful for Renegades to come in and give that time to one of the Gfinity Elite Series teams.
And I think we're really keen to see how, I guess, one of the top teams in the Gfinity Elite Series stacks up against some international competition. It's going to be a cracking match. I'm really keen to get into it, Sean.
Absolutely.
All right, looks like we are going to get underway in map number 1 of Renegades versus Perth Ground Zero, played at the Gfinity Esports Arena, an exhibition match between some of the best teams currently representing this region, and looks like they're going to get underway into the pistol with Ground Zero taking that city side. Now, Sean, it's been a while since you've been in the casting desk.
Absolutely has, but look, there's no messing about here by Renegades as they set themselves up for an aggressive B-take. Burn does open things up, but it's traded out quickly by JKS, and now the encore of Terrorists are pushing onto that B-bomb site, and they're coming in hard and fast. CTs now are setting themselves up for the retake. Meanwhile, though, the bomb is actually set up towards A, as he's made his way out blue door, and he'll have the free side to himself, and that is Liaz. So, bit of a trick play coming out here, and have Ground Zero been able to realise what's happened here? I don't think they've sounded it out, Jim.
I don't think they've sounded it out at all. They've been slowly bruised here. With Nikez, he does take one. Jacob finding the next, but they're at the wrong bomb site, Sean. They've been completely bamboozled.
Yep, the old bamboozles come through. Azza putting in some bullets to his teammate there, just letting him know that he can see him, as we are going to have Nikez on the B-bomb side. At this point, he's realised what's happened, and Jacob, with that 3K, closing things out with a knife on a Nikez there, and hey, look, if you're Perth Ground Zero, welcome to the big leagues, boys, because you've just copped it.
Well, they certainly have, and they've been given a nice wake-up, nice reminder that Renegades, of course, are the, I guess, premier team in the region, would you say, Sean, in terms of like their history, in terms of obviously taking and having the luxury of taking some of the best talent?
Oh, they're the team everybody wants to beat here in Australia. They're the international team that Australian teams get the most opportunity to play against. And with that opportunity comes opportunity to potentially make a name for yourself and create your own storied reputation within CSGO, and that was a very fast anti-eco coming out there from the Renegades.
And interesting to note too that they full bought into that in the sense that no SMGs, no messing about, nothing of the sort. They've gone in with Galils, they've gone in with AKs, they've taken control of mid, and they've just blasted their way through. That being said, Perth Ground Zero adopting this new money system, they've brought out third round buy with an AWP on burn.
Yeah, glass cannon though, and very, very small amounts of utility across the board there, and it's going to be tricky for them to defend these bomb sites. Renegades, however, loaded up with all the util they're going to need to bust onto these sites. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Burn here to mount a strong defense with that AWP. As Renegades now slowing it down a little bit, deciding to fill things out. Obviously, with the change to the economy, like you mentioned, these third rounds have been going a little bit differently. As Renegades set themselves up now, it looks like it's going to be an A-site hit coming in here as some of the utility starts to come out towards mid and A. It's going to be extinct under pressure here as the site hit goes underway.
They have not messed about whatsoever, though. Niquez does take one pincer down in mid, but he's left high and dry. Those smoke sets are put onto the A bomb site. Been picture perfect. That smoke that they throw just to block off vision from Highway is perfect in locking the CTs out. Gives them freedom to just isolate the players inside the site. But retake coming in, Sean, 3v3.
And it's that utility use that we see from Renegades that is... Oh, it's sharp there by Gratisfaction. That is very, very good. And, I mean, you just don't get any space to move, room to breathe. There's no missed flashes. The smokes and Molotovs are always landing perfectly. So, interesting round there for Perth Ground Zero. They did go for that heavy investment. They now will have to eco into this one. And we look to see Renegades move to a 4-0 lead. I mean, it's those pistol rounds, though, the old OCE pistol rounds that can prove to be quite deadly to other OCE teams. But we aren't going to see much come out here from Perth Ground Zero. A couple of Deagles, P250, a USB on Burn as Jacob not messing about, coming out with full aggression there, and it just seems to be a pick and push play coming out from Renegades so far in this round.
Yeah, there's not really a lot Perth Ground Zero can do here. They don't really have the tools to operate too well. I mean, Void has found one, taking down JKS with that Deagle. Just a single bullet was needed, and now Renegades are doing the right thing. They're grouping up, just taking down the individuals as they enter the bomb site. And another easy round for Renegades is they look to make Perth Ground Zero really pay for any of the mistakes. And I think that's the thing to note here is difference in experience between the two teams. As you said earlier, Skull Hunter coming into this roster. He's one of the draftees in the Gfinity Elite Series for Perth Ground Zero. He replaces Destiny, who would arguably be the most experienced player in that roster. Obviously, you know, Burn coming through, former Greyhound member, former Tainted member. He's bringing a lot to the roster in terms of what he does for the IGL role, but for Renegades, you know, they've got wealth of experience. They played against the world's best, and coming into this, no doubt, they recognise these mistakes. They pick up on these mistakes quite early on in the piece, and Liaz just providing the pincer towards A here, but in the meantime, taking control of middle, and Perth Ground Zero are quite happy to give it to him, but they need to be careful. They'll be completely taken off guard.
Very clever play there by Liaz towards the A bomb site, able to draw Skull Hunter away from middle, and to be fair, he was able to get that frag back on Jacob, who is one frag shy from being on a 3 kill per round rating at the moment. But Renegades full mid control here, taking their time, going to pick their way into these bomb sites to see if they can create an opening. Azza now making that play through Zcon to see if he can work a pick towards B, and he most certainly can. Burn, put to the sword, extinct now onto this A bomb site. He's getting pincered from all directions, does get a lot of damage there off on the Gratisfaction, but will be traded out there with the AWP, and now Void going to try to recover the AWP of his own. See if he can save that. Unable to land the shot there. They do know exactly where he is now, and it's going to be a very hard task for him to save this weapon going into the next round. Oh boy! Wow. Azza playing with his food there a little bit.
Yeah.
Pays the price.
He's been punished for that too. Obviously, Void proving that he's no slouch with the ADP. He doesn't get to save it, but impressive nonetheless. And as you said, Jacob is really feeling at home already. obviously with them playing on that Gfinity Elite Series stage too, they've got PCs that are very, very similar to what they utilise back in their home.
Gratisfaction wasting no time there to open things up for Renegades, and Perth Ground Zero need to try find something here. It is another pistol round coming out as Liaz a little happy on the trigger there. Lets his teammate know that he's behind, but Nikez with that deagle able to make one frag work. Can he get a second? It's not to be. Starts to get a little bit more passive here. He's going to try anchor the site as Void does come in through middle. Fortunately for him, isn't able to make it work. JKS there with a quick double to open this round right up for Renegades. Burn there. Also not able to make it work. Nikez with the one deagle frag. I mean, for an eco round, it's not too bad, but Renegades looking very sharp here at the moment, on top of their game.
Yeah, it's been all one-way traffic here, hasn't it, Sean? I mean, to be expected in that sense that obviously Renegades are looking to really assert their dominance early in that instance. But Cache is a map that lends itself, I think, at least in Australian terms, to stronger T sides. Just because I feel as though the CT sides aren't quite there yet. They haven't quite worked out the way that the meta plays. And I think that really favours the CT sides. But Burn taking some initiative using that experience, finding early frag. JKS finds a reply onto Nikez. The trading in this round is actually pretty good from Perth Ground Zero.
Yeah, this is the first round they've come in with what I'd call a full buy. They had a great amount of utility across the board. And AWP on Burn was able to open things up early. And that's what Ground Zero need to see, or need to do, should I say, if they're trying to get some rounds on the board. Void, great shot there on the Gratisfaction. As are now in a 1v4 situation. Oh, he's going to work the smoke, but Burn able to find himself the second kill for the round, and Perth Ground Zero on the board.
Right, interesting round coming out there, Sean, and we'll give that one a little bit of space to breathe. Obviously, Perth Ground Zero find themselves there first, but some good play actually coming out from Ground Zero, and I think maybe just Renegades starting to take their foot off the pedal somewhat, because they were very split up. They didn't actually take, I guess, the map control they normally do.
I mean, still zero fear coming out from Perth Ground Zero. They were able to open things up with that AWP pick onto that A-bomb site. And that's what they need to continue doing. They need to keep playing their game if they're to secure more rounds here. As we're going to see an A execute come out, and Az is going to open things up onto Nikez. But Burn, once again, doing magic work with that AWP, and Extinct's also able to find two as well. Liaz finds himself in a 1v3, does get one before he's traded out by Skull Hunter. Perth Ground Zero, second round on the board.
Looking much better in that round. So faster approach from Renegades, and Perth Ground Zero, they had three in that bomb site. They had obviously Burn back at the truck, overlooking things as well. But that boost up there with Extinct was key, because that really caught Renegades off guard. And I think they need to take some risks like that. They need to do some things that are not the usual in that regard, and that's how they're going to be, taking a roster on like Renegades.
Still plenty of money on the Renegades side. They've gone with another strong buy here. Gratisfaction on that AWP, and it seems to be a focus back towards this A-bomb side again. Az has managed to actually get himself out through that smoke. I'm not sure the CTs know he's positioned himself there. As Extinct, playing that A-side anchor. He's about to have a lot of pressure come his way. Second smoke comes down. JKS actually able to find the frag onto Burn there in middle. And that's crucial. That's one of the AWPs down for Perth Ground Zero and puts him into a 4v5 situation. Azza still waiting himself out here. Oh, the timing there just doesn't go the way of in the favour of Extinct. And Renegades now have control of this A-bomb site off the back of that one frag. Nikez able to get one back onto Azza to turn it into a 3v4. But it is going to be an A-site retake coming out here for Perth Ground Zero.
That's a great Molotov too, just really slow the CTs down. A second one. Also, they have no one coming from short highway at the moment, and it's going to be really difficult for Perth Ground Zero to get anything out of this round. In fact, I think they've just opted for the save straight away, and JKS making them pay. Now, he's just been anchored in mid the entire time, and that has really been a thorn in the side for Perth Ground Zero. In fact, that is why they couldn't take short highway to retake, because JKS just sitting in mid was really just detrimental to any retake prospects for Perth Ground Zero. And they need to save these two weapons. Big investments coming out. AWP and Colt, and their money situation. Liaz. See something, know something that we don't.
Hangs around a little bit too long there at truck. It does actually get taken out by Skull Hunter. who is able to save the AWP for Perth Ground Zero. Now, that A-side setup that Perth Ground Zero had there with Extinct playing that solo position unsupported meant that as soon as he went down, they'd lost A. They didn't really have much option for retake. They didn't have mid control to create an avenue through short, like you mentioned, and things just kind of fell apart. So potentially need to look at their defensive setups here, because if they are to set up like that where they just lose one player and can't do the retake, they're going to have issues. Also, Burn going down early, obviously not ideal for them. Skull Hunter is going to be challenged here in mid of Sandbags, looking to try and make it work. Does get supported by Nikez there. Will eventually go down to JKS, but not before taking out a player of his own, and Azza and Jacob dropping for Renegades, and it will be a 3v4 situation for the Terrorists now, as they are looking to try to take control of mid. Burn with that AWP again, able to take down Leos before being traded by Gratisfaction. Make that a 2v3 situation now for JKS and Gratisfaction. Rat, this is the orb shot. Justin, though, able to make that work. Finds himself in a 1v2. Will get taken out there by Extinct from that A-bomb site, and Perth Ground Zero put a third round on the board.
Good resurgency as well from Perth Ground Zero. Now, the money situation on Renegades is a little bit all over the shop in terms of where they're at. Gratisfaction bearing the brunt of it in terms of having to reinvest. But, I mean, they've got AK down JKS. He was the first to buy straight away, and I think they're really going to try and make those AKs just punch all the way through. That being said, it's one of those rounds where it's key for the CT side too, because their economy isn't exactly fantastic either, and that could really set Perth Ground Zero back.
Interesting to point out that Jacob is actually 0-6 since his amazing start early in the game, where he got 11 frags in the first 4 rounds. Void, though, able to find Jacob once again. Trades going back and forth here. Skull Hunter goes for that aggressive push through the vent. Will get traded out. Extends there to help him. Now it's JKS in a 1v3. Make that a 1v2. As he's able to make the first frag work. He has managed to recover an AK, but Nikez will put an end to those shenanigans. Perth Ground Zero, another round on the board. So they're starting to build a bit of a comeback here, Jim.
Yeah, I was breathing heavily for Perth Ground Zero in that round. Reason being is the 1 versus 3 versus JKS. You would back JKS to make those, particularly when the CT side are actually as split as Perth Ground Zero were. That last duel that we saw that went the way of Perth Ground Zero, if that goes against them, it's a situation where the CT is far too removed from his teammate to really be of that instant trade value. Now, Renegades back on pistols will mean that Perth Ground Zero might have a better chance coming into this half. They've done a good job. They've started to string some rounds together. They've managed to take 4 rounds in a row. Well, there you go, 4 rounds out of the last 5 that have meant they've been able to build some economy stability, and that's important on that CT side. Being said, though, I mean, the only one that's really been able to consistently keep themselves alive is actually Burn. But this is a nice round for Perth Ground Zero. They're just taking territory off Renegades.
Oh.
JKS finds 1, but not really a lot to report home about. He's got an AWP, though.
Yeah, he'll be looking to do economy damage here if he can. Get a few more frags on the board. Void there with a really nice push through B. Was able to secure 3 frags on this anti-eco, so great stuff coming out from him. Burn, though, going down, losing that AWP. Now, JKS, yep, exactly what I thought he was going to do. He's managed to he's managed to get rid of that AWP onto the roof, so they won't be recovering that. Does get 1 more before he goes down. Does, in the end, get taken down by Extinct, and they're looking for that AWP, but they've realised that it's gone.
I mean, Burn can buy back into it with that, but I mean, any gun that he took out of the hands of Perth Ground Zero in that situation is going to be very, very helpful to the cause of Renegades in terms of just thinning that CT economy, keeping them on edge, keeping them honest as well. And I mean, coming into this Renegades now, they've forced into it with whatever they can. Jacob obviously going for that P90. We know the Pro 90 is a very, very effective weapon if utilised correctly, but you can see Perth Ground Zero going aggressive on that that B that has certainly helped them gain a lot of information against Renegades.
Well, it's been very much an asymmetric approach here from Renegades, with more than half their rounds being focused towards the A-bomb site, with obviously a bit of focus towards middle as well, but B has been almost untouched other than a couple of early rounds in this half.
This is that AX, by the way, that Renegades which is smoke coming up to the highway. That's the one that goes to short. But Leaz has actually taken out this A-bomb site in the meantime, and Somehow Nikes has stayed alive on the captain. Satisfaction. They knew straight away. Perth Ground Zero. They were set up for that one.
Oh, Nikes able to get himself a 3K so far into this round. And great A-side defense coming out here from Perth Ground Zero as they manage to get another round on the board, and they're clawing this back, aren't they, Jim? I mean, there's a potential here that they can close out this half by winning it, given the way the momentum has gone, as Renegades, once again, are going to be forced on their pistols.
And I think Renegades have really been punished by the fact that what was working for them was the faster approaches earlier on in the piece. They backed off a little bit, and it's really allowed Perth Ground Zero to get themselves back into it. Perth Ground Zero, to their credit, have actually made a few adaptations, a few changes in the way they played, and it's worked for them.
I think that's to do with the conditioning that our Renegades were trying to... oh, the Desert Eagles, as I hold on to that thought for a moment. Skull Hunter finds himself in a 1v5 as Renegades just roll on out with those Desert Eagles and do some serious damage. And just to the point I was trying to make before is I think Renegades were setting up early an aggressive playstyle to keep Perth Ground Zero at bay and prevent any kind of pushes on place. To Perth Ground Zero's credit, that hasn't stopped their playstyle. They've still remained relatively aggressive, particularly on that B bomb site, which has been able to create a few openings, or at least a few, defensive plays and sounding out territory for Perth Ground Zero, as Skull Hunter here is going to try to do his best to try and take away as many of those guns as he can, and he's done a great job so far, getting himself 3 kills in the 1v5. He's not going to be able to win the round, nor is he trying to. However, if he can take that AWP off Jacob, which he will, that's a great job there by Skull Hunter.
Yeah, obviously trying to hold on to his own weapon as well. Most importance was keeping hold of that for himself, but he actually does get away with the AWP and takes it for Perth Ground Zero. So not a bad round from him. Obviously, all exit frags and, you know, in terms of winning the round, not really going to go a long way. But what it has done is ensure that he's been able to pick up that AWP, because Renegades in their situation, they were buying into this regardless. If anything, it's probably giving Grat a little bit less utility, so to speak of, because he's had to purchase the AWP of his own. So I don't know, that could be the difference.
Dead right there, with it being the last round. It didn't matter too much that they lost all those weapons, so Perth Ground Zero going to try and bring this back on the last round. Actually, they've done a really good job there to lock down middle. It's turned it into a 1v5 situation for Gratisfaction, and what looked like it was going to be a bit of a blowout earlier has turned into quite a close half here, Jim.
Certainly has been for Perth Ground Zero, and they were slow starters. Renegades certainly reminding them why they were considered such a threat. And in terms of, you know, players, you look across the board, you look at your Liazes, your JKSs, your Gratisfactions, as a Jacob, all considered to be some of the sharpest players going around. But I mean, as they prepare for this second half, Sean, Perth Ground Zero now going to get themselves lift off on T side. It's not always easy to do. You expect the Sydney side Renegades to be quite polished. Just some familiar faces don't line up the way that JKS, for example, holds to be. I haven't had the pleasure of watching too much Renegades since they've brought in Gratisfaction, and of course Liaz. But in terms of those solo site holds, you know, JKS was quite a solid solo site holder, and that for a team, I think having someone in that sort of capacity really goes a long way towards freeing up the rest of the team. You can put 4 numbers elsewhere on the CT side. Let's see how it goes, though. I mean, they might opt to change things up a little bit too, because Perth Ground Zero, no doubt, are looking to try some things themselves, and what better opposition to play that in an exhibition against the Renegades.
Yeah, look, it's going to be tough here for Perth Ground Zero, though, on that T side. I mean, the T side meta in Australia is very strong amongst a lot of the top teams. CT side tends to be slightly weaker, as we are going to see an interesting 5-man push here from Renegades, and they've gone site for site, as Perth Ground Zero are going to walk their way into this A bomb site. If they take too long, though, they're going to be taken from behind, and this is going to catch them by surprise. As Extinct, though, is ready for it. Does get...
That's the bomb.
Oh, that is the bomb. Gratisfaction able to find 2 there. The bomb's now stuck into A main. Extinct was able to find 1 headshot and a great gush, but JKS there as well with that USP, and Burn now finds himself all alone in a 1v3 situation. It's going to be very tricky from here. He's going to have to try and recover that bomb as the Renegades fan out in all directions to make this retake near impossible. Burn does find JKS before being insta-traded by Liaz, and Renegades secure the pistol.
That was a really interesting round. Obviously, big risk pushing through B main and then DME. Look, let's be real. The resistance from Perth Ground Zero is actually quite decent in terms of the frags that they're putting up. Obviously, Burn, the IGL there was the last one left alive. But that was a really interesting round for me because an A main, full A main push by a full B push, it's like a yin and yang when it comes up across the radar.
Absolutely. I like that from Renegade. The 5-man through B main, and then the split pincer underway, up short. It's Jacob. Through that flawlessly.
They certainly did, and they made Perth Ground Zero really sweat it somewhat. I mean, no respect on that push either. You can't really give your opposition too much breathing room in anti-eco situations like that. Renegades made no exception in that instance too, so the SMG is getting super aggressive, and the rifle's just holding for that instance. So for Perth Ground Zero, certainly being reminded constantly of just the firepower that Renegades do possess, but that is a good frag. Burn takes some damage for it, but not a lot. Onto Jacob there, just getting aggressive into A main, and Azza does find a reply here. Nice little one-way from JKS, does spot out Void too, so they do go down 4-3, but the numbers are thin from the CT side. Perth Ground Zero need to regroup and look at finding their way onto one of these bomb sites.
That's exactly what they're doing towards this A bomb site now, as they're putting a lot of pressure on Liaz with that UMP. Is able to find two very quickly there, and Burn now finds himself in a 1v3 situation. Won't be able to get any more frags there. Puts Gratisfaction down to 2 HP. It's not enough though, as Renegades move out to 11-7.
And really, these last two rounds have been very fast-paced. It's been Renegades very much on the aggression, particularly on the anti-eco. But even on that gun round there, continuing that, Jacob's just an aggressive push into B main. JKS following it up with a decent one-way smoke there, and now that really filtered Perth Ground Zero in towards that A bomb site. And they were ready for that. They made those adjustments, they made those calls, and they were ready for it.
Now we saw what these Deagles did last half for Renegades on there. Eco as Burn opens things up onto Jacob with a really crisp headshot there towards the B bomb site. Azza though, no fear here as he pushes down into A main, is able to find two frags very quickly. Gratisfaction with that vent boost. Also able to support mid there with some aggressive plays coming out from the CTs here, really paying dividends. A lot of damage out onto Liaz. He will get taken down now by Burn, who has found the only two frags for his team so far in this round. We'll recover that M4. So, look, they're not out of this, Perth Ground Zero. If they can find a few more frags here and create an opening, Skull Hunter still has control of that bomb towards mid. Just waiting for Burn now to try and find that pick. It's not to be, though. Skull Hunter left all on his lonesome now. Will recover that M4 and has to navigate his way through a 1v3.
And no easy task either, because he's got no idea where Renegades have pushed to, though. They took aggressive control of A main. They've really limited his options now, and I think Renegades are just closing the net. If you can isolate some 1v1s here, you can certainly do some damage. I don't actually know if he spotted out Azza on the A bomb site, but either way, that's not where he's going to go. You can see Renegades, they've just got someone anchored on the bomb sites there, Gratisfaction, just getting some information, playing with his food somewhat, and seeing if that spam can do some damage coming through from CT spawn. JKS just really testing his knowledge, but Skull Hunter now. Let's find one. 10 seconds left to find the second and the third, but I don't think he's got time really to do too much. Just looking to survive right now. And Renegades, they play a smart and patient game. They want to kill him after time, which they do, which is really going to hurt Skull Hunter individually in terms of his economy. And yeah, he's felt a bit of a pinch there. But the rest of Perth Ground Zero, funnily enough, might even have money to force into this, so they should be able to buy.
Yeah, Skull Hunter there, opting to try and save the AWP as opposed to going down after time. Not that he had much choice, though. Renegades weren't going to push in on him in that instance, as we've seen a pretty default setup come out here from the CTs. Void working his way towards that B bomb site. Gratisfaction opens things up onto Extinct on that boost. So, make that a second frag for Gratisfaction, and that is incredibly sharp there from the Sandbags. They know exactly where he is. It's a matter of trying to find that frag, and Burn is the man to do it. Catches him on the jump. Jacob finds a frag onto Void towards B bomb site, and just like that, it's a 2v4 situation for Perth Ground Zero.
Yeah, the fast aggressive didn't really pay dividends. That bomb was just sneaking into the door. JKS all over that. And the fast aggressive pushes into A main are really slowing down Perth Ground Zero. Yes, they can take mid, but if you've got control at A main, an entry into that A bomb site is made so difficult. So Renegades are really placing a premium on pushing into those areas, and Jacob sitting there on 20 frags, but you can see that the production rate actually from both these two teams is quite impressive. Despite the round deficit, Perth Ground Zero is still keeping up somewhat in terms of frags. So this is an interesting push coming out from Liaz, but it's not where the action's going to be. Jacob does get tagged down through the smoke, but will still persist in pushing. He'll take down Void. He is traded out, so it's all on JKS, who's just going to try and see if that Molotov will come in handy. Places on the other side of the smoke, and he knows where they're going to filter through in this bomb site. Perth Ground Zero, they do get their way into this bomb site now, finally. They've broken through Sean, as providing some resistance, but should be able to get this bomb plant down.
Yeah, crucial round for Perth Ground Zero. It's on their buy again, and they need to be careful here. Leo's. There we go. Great stuff by Skull Hunter. We'll find the last two frags there for Perth Ground Zero, and they're on the board on their T side now with a great 3K from Skull Hunter and that double kill entry from Extinct as well, as both the young up-and-comers on the Perth Ground Zero team there putting on some great frags and a great score on for their team so far, with 18 and 19 frags respectively.
Interesting to note too, for a last-minute addition to the roster, Perth Ground Zero, Skull Hunter not faring too badly either. Oh, JKS though, twirling that AWP, does a decent job of it, even flashed into A main as well, but you can see Perth Ground Zero. BKS might actually catch one out, but Jacob pops up, says hello. Extinct. Quick on that trade though, he does find the double, so great work from him, keeping the CT side honest. But Liaz does push, finds Burn, and this round happened so quickly, they've traded out to a 2 versus 2.
Void now, looking to try and get some control in the middle. We'll be going up against the Deagle of Gratisfaction. Deagle versus AWP. The Deagle wins. Will now be a 1v2 for young Extinct. He's already found 2 frags in this round. Won't find a third, as JKS using the edge of that smoke like the pro that he is. We'll put Extinct to the sword, and 14-8 now the score as Renegades look to try to push this up to match point. Perth Ground Zero, though, definitely having some moments here where they're making these rounds very close. It's just in the midst of the, I guess, chaotic trading that Renegades seem to be getting the upper hand.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a lot of traffic, all in the way of Renegades, particularly in this half, moving on to that T. So we knew it was going to be a difficult ask for Ground Zero to just, I guess, stabilise, take off, have it what you will on that side. Oh, Jacob, JKS, they keep it alive somehow.
That's filthy.
A fast round from Perth Ground Zero. Oh, Perth Ground Zero to get onto that. And look, my expression says it all, mate. Absolutely put on the backside, Jacob. Somehow.
Absolutely laid out there. As we will see match point come out here for Renegades. It will be that double AWP setup for JKS and Gratisfaction.
That's what happens when you have too much max.
Too much max. Yeah, the old burp hiccup sort of thing, right? So
it's something.
As we are going to see a focus towards this ace bomb site once again from Perth Ground Zero. Shoulder pick comes out. It's not going to be enough though, as Liaz, wow, with that AUG is able to take 3 frags for himself there. That grenade's going to do a lot of damage as well. The jumping swag puts Burn down to 9 HP. And it's going to be all on the Void here in the 1v5 situation to keep Perth Ground Zero alive in this opening map.
Oh man, that's a big ask for anybody to do, and that is it. That is the game. You guys
Next map is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting for me because it's a big ask for Perth Ground Zero to bounce back. And in terms of what they have to work on. It seems as though there was some issues moving onto that T side. So being able to fix that, moving into the next map, big ask for a young side.
I feel like it's not so much issues with Ground Zero's T side, it's just how strong Renegade's CT side is. Now, if we were to compare that to the CT sides that Ground Zero typically face here within Australia, I feel like Renegades are playing at a level above and beyond what we have here currently amongst some of the top teams. So while Perth Ground Zero's T side may have seemed lackluster, I think I'm going to give more credit to Renegade's CT side as opposed to Perth Ground Zero not really bringing the game they needed to bring on their T side.
And I think that'll do us for map number 1 of this exhibition between Perth Ground Zero and, of course, Renegades. All right, map number 2, Renegades versus Ground Zero, the Gfinity Arena. Playing out, and I think from Perth Ground Zero's perspective, they want to do as much damage as they can. Perfect opportunity on the T side of Mirage, pistol round to get themselves off to a good start.
Yeah, look, they're going to need to get a good start here on their T side if they're going to try to build any momentum onto this map. Renegades, obviously an incredibly formidable side, but here we go. We've got the waterfall strat coming here underway, and a lot of damage done to the player there towards jungle. JKS forced to fall back here. He will be chased, and he will be put to the sword there by Extinct. A few trade frags coming in from Jakim and Azar, and it's a 2v2 situation now. Bomb has gone down. Jakim finds another one there onto Skull Hunter. Void in a 1v2 situation, and what was an explosive start here by Ground Zero. just gets put down there by Liaz and Jacob. They get themselves a 2-piece each, and Renegades on the board early here, Jim.
Yeah, it was a convincing retake. Actually, good work from Ground Zero to try and take control of the A-bomb site, but they were simply picked apart and they had no utility to hide behind, and a clinical retake from what you would expect from a world-class side. But in terms of Ground Zero, they probably needed to do more with the fact that they had control of that CT ramp. Perhaps needed to stage that as more of an area to post-plant from. They were picked apart as soon as they stayed inside that bomb site.
And we are going to see the XM coming out there on JKS. Look, a couple of smokes and a flashbang on Perth Ground Zero's side here. So they're going to look to try and get a plant onto this A bomb site. But there's real forward position coming out here from JKS. The grenade does a little bit of damage there to Nikaz and Void.
Oh, man.
Oh, patience coming out, though, from Perth Ground Zero as they get their setup going. The execute will come out. Jacob, though, with the spray. Does find one, but JKS with that XM gets himself a 4K, and that is money in the bank, Jim.
Cha-ching, baby. That's all it needed to be. And just obviously holding that close position as well. And had the M4 overwatching Palace. Just that insurance policy in case things go wrong with the XM, but rarely does it ever. That gun is so overpowered, particularly in that situation as well. But looks like they've opted to keep the XM coming up against what is going to be a full buy coming up from Perth Ground Zero. So look for Perth Ground Zero to try and assert their dominance early on, but I think Renegades are just going to scope things out themselves, perhaps try and push them out of mid, but doubling up on A-ramp here. This could be a dangerous push.
Yeah, very aggressive stuff coming out from Renegades. Liaz finds himself a 2-piece. Trades are coming out, though, but JKS with that XM again gets a few more frags, and he's really building up that dank bank early. Money.
Not a lot for Void to do here, though.
Yeah, look, they have bought into this round, which is typical now with the plant that they got down. JKS will recover that AK and put Void to rest there. And really explosive start here from Renegades. Perth Ground Zero testing out that A-bomb side early, finding out it's not going to be very easy. Those really aggressive forward positions there from Renegades goes to show that they have a lot of confidence going into the CT side of this map. So JKS there already with 7 frags on round 4. So putting in work, and look, most of them, if not all of them, with that XM.
Yeah, and it's easy to start raking in that money, particularly with that dominance or gratisfaction. Looking to go here in mid, finds 2, and it's just a cleanup crew as they do try and take control, but you can see they've only lost 1 weapon thus far. Jacob going down. Easy round so far for Renegades at the moment. They've been very, very quick rounds though. I mean, we've only been, in this match for 5 minutes, and it's been 4 rounds already. We're already in the 5th.
Yeah, we're looking at a lot of multi-frags from some of the Renegades players here as well, where a couple of players coming out with, 2 frags plus as they set up their defensive setups here. And Ground Zero coming back with a buy here. Burn is going to pull out that AWP. He's really going to need a fire for them if they are to try and claw back some rounds early on in this half. They're opting to go for a bit of a default split here. A couple of players towards A, a couple of players towards B. 1 player holding for that mid-aggression. Renegades, though, have their line of defense spread out. 2 players towards mid-con is very interesting there for that mid-control. 4 positioning from Gratisfaction with that AWP, though, onto B. And Skull Hunter doing the dance, has been spotted, will get taken down. Trying to draw out that shot, but Gratisfaction just so quick. He's able to make the frag work. No shoulder peeking today, son. And just like that, Perth Ground Zero on a 1-man disadvantage in this round.
Haven't really taken any territory either. I think that's the thing to note. Renegades just swarming around mid, have full control of it. And Perth Ground Zero seemingly just waiting out some aggression, hoping that they could get a pick potentially in those B halls, but Gratisfaction far too quick. And now without any real territory, they're going to try and execute their way towards, I believe, this A-bomb site. But again, there's no pincer coming in. They're just going to have to rely on the fact that they'll get out Palace strong, they'll get out T-Ramp strong, and potentially make the solo A-site holder here work for it.
Yeah, they're a little bit slow here. They had a real opportunity to take advantage of the fact that JKS was all by himself. That molly is going to make him move, but it was a little bit too early. Void does make that frag work, but by that point, Liaz has found himself in a great position and will get 2 on the response. Jacob, with that flank from that mid-push, able to put an end to that. Look, Perth Ground Zero had the right idea there, hitting that A-bomb site. But like I pointed out, I think they were a little bit slow there. Had they been a little bit quicker, they may have been able to get a little bit more out of that round before the Jacob flank came in.
Well, yeah, that's the result of not really having any map territory either. They really didn't make Renegades respect them whatsoever. Yeah, they held passively, but it was far too passively. And that resulted in that quick flank from Jacob. So, again, Perth Ground Zero now on a gun round coming out. Burn, the only one sacrificing what he can. Obviously, the in-game leader of the team as well. So, he has gone onto that Deagle. Early frag there for JKS, taking down Void. And again, still no territory thus far. They're very, very passive in mid, and Renegades are controlling the tempo of the T side quite well.
Yeah, this is another first pick going the way of Renegades here against the AK of Void. Not really what Perth Ground Zero need if they're going to try and secure some rounds here. It's hard enough going up against Renegades with your full roster, but if you're losing the first pick on each round here, it's going to make things 1,000 times more difficult. Burn, though, able to recover that AK, as there's a lot of attention coming in from Renegades towards middle here. Nikez is going to work his way back a little bit, try to spot out this player towards short. Has just missed out on an opportunity there due to timing. Jacob, though, playing very aggressive here in mid-con. Will get the frag onto Nikez. Nikez did actually spot him first there, but unable to connect the headshot. Extincto, great frag coming out there from him. Warp shot coming out from Gratisfaction. He's going to miss, but he's well supported there by JKS, and just like that, it's going to be a 2v4 situation. Azza here, we'll find Burn, trying to make his way up short, and it's all going to be on Skull Hunter here. The 1v4 situation, we'll get the first frag on the Gratisfaction.
Just trying to do as much as he can, as Perth Ground Zero really struggled to take control of anything.
So we're on to a force buy here out by Ground Zero in the form of pistols across the board there. 4 Desert Eagles and that CZ onto Extinct. They've used a lot of utility early to try to get control of middle here. They need to try to find this frag onto Jacob. He's got a really dirty angle there over the smoke, but Skull Hunter will make that frag work on 9 HP. Actually spots out the second player there into mid-con. Does a lot of damage too. Nikez does push up and finds the frag. Make that a double kill for Nikez as he gets JKS as well. And just like that, Liaz finds himself in a 1v3 situation. Now, Perth Ground Zero really need to try and convert this round. Burn, he's going to try and make his way towards the site. Does collect that M4 and will get the bomb plant. So, Liaz in a 1v2 situation here on the retake. He's going to pop out vent there to try and draw that player away. He will get spotted though, going back towards short. And a lot of pressure here on Void. He is the man with the most HP. He's getting aggressive on window, though. Needs to be careful, as Liaz is not to be trifled with, and that is why we'll get that frag. And just like that, 1v1 situation for Liaz. Oh, Burn, though. The steady hands there. Does get himself a 2k for the round. And that forced pistol by Perth Ground Zero is going to result in their first round of the half.
Just overpowering Renegades there as they push their way down mid. And I think the difference this time was the fact that their attempts to crossfire mid were met really well with trades from Perth Ground Zero, so hold their head high in that round, but it has been very much a struggle for them on regular gun rounds. Renegades, as you can see, just the way that they collapse on mid, they're not really respecting the fact that Perth Ground Zero as a T side are trying to take territory whatsoever. They're actually meeting fire with fire. And Jacob, I mean, he's thrown the same mid-con smoke that many times. It's not funny. Right now, even playing close with an AWP, once 3, and making light work. Yeah, he made really light work of that push from Ground Zero.
Mate, the confidence there from Gratisfaction to push that close to A main with that AWP and get those 3 frags the way that he did is quite ridiculous. Perth Ground Zero now in a 1v4 situation, but I mean, Gratisfaction, you're nutty. Ooh, Void does take care of JKS. Just spot out another player towards stairs. Azza will dispatch of him. A little bit of damage from the molly there. It's not going to mean anything. The round comes to an end. Do they recover the AWP? They don't. Perth Ground Zero here. Forced back onto pistols. Having won the round before and then losing that just then to the incredible work there by Gratisfaction with that AWP. Now, he was having a bit of a slow start there, but manages to get himself 3 frags in that round and kind of gets him back in. But it's hard when Justin's taking all the frags today.
It is, and we were talking about that minor victory before. They took that AWP out of the economy of Renegades, but, I mean, their money's flowing. The cup runneth over for them right now, so it's not really going to be a detrimental effect thus far. But again, this connected dominance of Renegades has really struggled like I said, Perth Ground Zero really struggled to break it open, but that's a good exchange now, and it does somewhat make Renegades respect this mid control.
Oh, absolutely. They're looking sharp with pistols, Jim. I mean, Gratisfaction there had armor and a set of grenades, but it was only running around with the USP. But JKS with that AUG. It's a nice little headshot there on the mid-con. Liaz with the aggressive push through B-Halls will find burn at the end there, and it was costly for the Renegades, but they are able to put another round on the board, and Perth Ground Zero really need to try and make something work here on their bye, as this half is definitely getting away from them.
Certainly is, and as we were saying before, the nature of the rounds, they're very, very quick rounds too. They're not even going the full minute and 55 seconds plus bomb time. They're going much sooner than that. Perth Ground Zero really aren't even getting themselves into the bomb site. Other than the pistol round, I haven't really seen too much, but that is a good start there from JKS, as does make that AUG work and does find the first frag.
I'm pretty sure he smoke sprayed that through middle and has found the AWP of burn. Actually gets a double kill now with that frag on Instinct. Putting in all sorts of work there with that AUG, and meanwhile, this default split from Perth Ground Zero, they've tried to get a bit of territory across the map, tried to find themselves an opening here, just hasn't gone their way. Now, they will have found Azza somewhere on the map there, and has turned this into a 3v4 situation. They're going to try regroup here, and it looks like there's going to be a focus towards B by the looks of it, as Skull Hunter is trying to find an entry here.
I think they're just waiting for this fake to be potentially sold here by Void at the A ramp. Just keep that rotation there. They do need to go back and get the bomb first, so that's going to put a hold on things. But they haven't been able to get a pick towards B, as Void picks one up on T ramp. So that might start to swing things in action here at A.
That was just patience there by Void towards A ramp. Didn't lurk around the edge of the smoke, waited for a player to try and gain information on him. Surely they've identified the fact that the CTs are being very aggressive on the extremities. But Gratisfaction with that AWP will find that frag on a Skull Hunter. Void gets the trade back onto JKS, so a nice double kill from Void here onto this A bomb site. They're going to have to deal with Gratisfaction though, who does miss that first shot. Gets pushed back, but he's well supported by his teammates. Spots out the player, catches Nikaz on the jump. Liaz chimes in with one of his own, and Renegades really pulling away here on their CT side.
Certainly are, and making light work of Perth Ground Zero for the moment. And as we said, they really struggled to get into those bomb sites. That was one of the longest rounds we've seen thus far, and it still didn't result in a bomb plant either. So time is really ticking by quite quickly for Perth Ground Zero in these rounds, and they're going to need to make some improvements. They're going to need to start making Renegades respect them a little bit more, particularly, as we said, in the middle at the moment.
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure that's back-to-back rounds. The bird that's being smoke sprayed by an AUG. Azza, with that unders push, has found 2 frags there, and JKS and Jacob putting those AUGs to work.
Hey, I got that AUG. Whose AUG is this? They're not pussyfooting around either. They're taking control of mid and making sure that Perth Ground Zero are going to have the worst time possible getting anywhere near close to taking territory. And they're not being fussed whatsoever in that mid connector. They're taking that mid window far too soon, far too early. And I think from Renegade's perspective, a simple smoke would disable part of that crossfire as well. So
I want to see a delayed mid-push here coming out from Perth Ground Zero with numbers. They're pushing early and getting taken out by that AUG spray. They just wait a few seconds and then do their execute on the mid. I think it could be quite beneficial for them. On the rounds where they've had pistols, they have tried to take mid control, and it has definitely worked. Void will open things up onto Jacob here towards Palace. Now we've got an A execute coming out. Molotov to clear out under balcony, but Gratisfaction with that AWP will dispatch of the man coming up from Palace. Also finds a frag on the Nikaz. So since that 3-kill round that Gratisfaction had earlier, he's been doing a lot of damage with the scoped weapon. Extinctor burn though, do find JKS and Liaz, so it's all going to be on Gratisfaction in a 1v3. I was going to say, it looked like he didn't shoot then, but he definitely did and was able to find that frag. Extinctor will find the trade back. Gratisfaction would have had to ace that round to lock it down. Does find 3. Definitely doing some damage, but Perth Ground Zero, it's exactly what they needed. They needed another round on the board, and hopefully they can build from here and get themselves to 5-10 and give them an opportunity on CT side to claw this back.
Despite what it looked like, call him Mr. LinkedIn. He's making connections.
He is absolutely making connections, Jim. We might as well call it BinkedIn.
There we go.
Okay, a little bit slower here from Perth Ground Zero again, but they do seem to favour the safe on-site. Nikaz, though, catch it out by Jacob. just trying to caught with a grenade in his hand, so he'll be a little bit frustrated with that. JKS in a great position here to catch this A push off guard. He's trying to spot the player jumping up. Utility use is coming out. He'll spot the first one. Makes that frag work, but actually gets traded out by the Molotov there from Extinct. So Satisfaction, once again, going to have to put in AWP work with this AWP, but it's Burn on the AWP that is able to find a couple of frags there. Now, Azza does get the smoke spray onto the bomb planter. He does get the bomb down first, though, so it will be a 2v2 retake coming in here from the Renegades. Both teams still have their AWPer up. Actually, I lied. Liaz has picked up the AWP here for the retake. Azza does spot one player crossing towards site. Liaz swaps out the AWP for an AK now. Probably a wise decision by him. Oh, and that's why. It does find Void there with the headshots. All going to be on Burn with this AWP, and he's going to have to come up big, and it's not to be. Liaz swapping out to that AK. Is able to find himself a two-piece. Renegades move to 11-2, and this is rough for Perth because it's going to put their money situation back in the hole.
It is, and even more so now the fact they picked up 2 AWPs. So that's going to change things up a little bit on that CT side. Whether or not it changes the fact that they're still going to have numbers contesting mid every round. Renegades have a minimum of 3 contesting mid. Either 2 through connector, 1 through window, or 1 through short as well, just to bolster things. And they're keeping Perth Ground Zero at bay. And this is just a sign of a team that's confident on Mirage, confident with this push. And again, it's coming out.
Yeah, look, they've pushed out straight away again in middle with the pistols. Run into a couple of CDs there. They do get a couple of frags going their way. Burn has picked up the M4, but he's in a 1v3 situation. Gratisfaction will dispatch of him. And look, when they're not going into mid fast and aggressive, we are seeing a lot of aggression coming out from Renegades. They're pushing for that information. So they need to, Perth Ground Zero really need to identify that. And if they just set up and wait, they'll catch that push in CT. Pushing up mid for that information, and then they can execute on mid, right? So that, I think, would be a lot more beneficial for them. Hasn't quite happened so far in this half. It's the last round now for them to potentially secure.
And I think that really highlights the fact that there's a massive experience deficit in these two teams, but you can see now, jeez, Extinct, I don't know how he made that, but there's a huge deficit in experience at the moment, but I like this Perth Ground Zero. They're upping the ante somewhat, getting aggressive now. Extinct on 1. Nikes takes Jacob, just jumping into the fray, seemingly unsupported by the rest of his team. Now, oh, what is going on here in the smoke? Azza somehow still alive. Scarhunter takes him down with a knife, and Leo's now left in a 1 versus 3 situation. On ticket now, he has revealed his position as well. Leo's is a player that will be back in these sort of situations. Simply happy to just let him go.
Oh, no, not again. Liaz here set himself up to try and win the 1v3 clutch. He does have 3 frags into this round, and it was crazy entries coming out from Extinct onto that A bomb site, and then even crazier attempt at the retake there as players were jumping through smokes and into sandwich off the back of flashbangs, but it is going to be a 1v1. Can the young gun from Perth Ground Zero lock this down for the boys, or is Liaz going to win out another 1v3 clutch and make it a 4K for this round? He's so reliable. I think he's done a really good job here, but it's not to be. Void able to lock down the final round of the half for Ground Zero. They will go onto their CT side with only 3 rounds on the board. Is it enough, Jim?
I don't know if it's going to be enough for them, though. I think Renegades really made them pay in terms of taking control of territory, just making Perth Ground Zero play a passive game. And I mean, that's, as we said, there's a deficit in experience between the two sides. Perth Ground Zero weren't able to make any of the adjustments to adjust the aggression coming out from Renegades. So for them, it's very much a learning experience. As we said, it's an exhibition match between the two teams. So they're going to be going into this with their mind that they need to try and, I guess, lab this out and learn from it as much as possible. Yes, they're going to take some pretty heavy L's in terms of some of these rounds, and they have. But for them, it's an opportunity to learn the real weaknesses in their game.
Yeah, absolutely. Going up against a team like Renegades, they will punish your mistakes. They will identify them quickly, and they will exploit them. Watching this demo back for Perth Ground Zero, there'll be a lot of things they can learn from. So as we go into this pistol round, we will see Renegades grouping up towards this B-bomb site. They do have a double flash smoke on Azza here, and I'm curious to see if it's going to be a B executor, if they're going to go unders. Definitely looks like they're heading towards B. Void gets himself up into the goblin position. Nikes on the boxes there. He's going to spot the players out. We'll see the first one, so they'll be calling for that rotate. Oh, Nikes finds one before he's traded out. Void gets one as well, but Liaz with a double kill. Once again, Mr. Dependable putting in work with that Glock, and the CTs now find themselves in a retake position. Now, This is going to be very tricky as Renegades have the bomb down and have set themselves up in great positions across the site. Burn looking for an opening opportunity, but he just can't find one at the moment. That smoke grenade is going to buy lots of time here for Renegades. Burn just trying to spot players out, and at some point he's going to have to commit. Gratisfaction getting up close and personal, but Extinct and Skull Hunter do make it work with the pincer from short coming in from, I believe it was Extinct there, but Skull Hunter able to get a double kill of his own, and Perth Ground Zero get that start they needed.
Decent start from Perth Ground Zero, and the confidence they need in this half as well, because coming into a CT side, it is difficult. You will lose rounds potentially early on, just due to pressure mounted by one team on that CT side. I mean, you look at the scoreline, and as a player, you go, all right, 12 versus 4. It's a pretty big deficit to try and overcome. 8 rounds, obviously, between the two teams right now. But you realise that there's a lot of CS left to play for these guys. And I think from Perth Ground Zero's perspective, you're off to the right start. But, I mean, look at this play coming out from Renegades in terms of what they bought. They've bought up and they put that AK onto JKS. So for them, it's about trying to make things work. They've really not respected the economy. And I like this from Renegades. It's adventurous.
Yeah, it's very aggressive, Jim. The head armor and AK onto JKS. Putting a lot of faith in his ability to try crack this open, but Extinct there with the FAMAS will win out on that duel, and he had no right to with that weapon. Able to make it work, though. We will see Liaz working his way up short. Burn and Skull Hunter are going to chime in there. Really good round coming out from the CTs, considering the Renegades did try something a bit cheeky there. It's not going to work out for him. So Perth Ground Zero, mounting a little bit of a comeback on their CT side.
They're going to come up against a gun round here for Renegades. Now, Liaz, I assume he's going to go straight for that Galil, just due to the money situation for him. No, he's actually gone for the AK. No head armor. Interesting. No need for utility for him. But keen to see what they come out with here. And in terms of what they've done, they've simply just set that 4-1. Azza falls victim to Burn. Skull Hunter is quick to find a reply. They are going to hit this A-bomb site with some gusto.
Yeah, great trading from Gratisfaction there, though, onto Skull Hunter to open up this A-bomb site. Perth Ground Zero are going to be tested here with an A-site retake. Bomb still hasn't gone down from Renegades, though. They don't quite have the utility to cover the bomb site. And Burn and Extinct are going to chime in with a frag each of their own. And Extinct with that MP9. Boy, oh boy, is he making waves on this Ground Zero team. As an up-and-coming player not so long ago, he has really found his way in the pro scene here in Australia, and I think he's a great talent.
I think he just holds the team together quite well in terms of what he offers for support as well. Like, he's not a, in terms of roles, he's not an entry fragger, and he's certainly not a lurker. He's definitely that off-entry player, that second entry of support, putting other players in key positions. He puts up numbers as well, but geez, JKS looking to make that Eagle work.
That's one way to stop Extinct. JKS on the Desert Eagle. We'll open things up here for Renegades. Now it's going to 5 Desert Eagles across the board. JKS, stop it. Handing out free haircuts on this A-bomb site. And as it chimes in with one of his own, Nikez will find the trade there to turn it back into a 2v4 situation. Really needs to find this frag. Is able to do it, so it's going to be a 2v3. They do know his position now. Void chimes in with one of his own to turn it back to a 2v2. So the recovery from Nikez and Void here proving to be crucial. Oh no, Liaz does find that frag now, so it's going to be Nikez in a 1v2 situation. He's going to need to get a 4K on this round to secure it for the team. Does find the first one into Jacob. Crucial. That is the bomb, but Liaz, with that recovered AK, gets put down to 4 HP. Oh, that's got a sting. And Renegades still a round away here on their T side.
And Liaz putting up 100 ADR at the moment, Jacob 109. I think even saw Gratisfaction sitting up around like the 90s as well. So in terms of the damage being put out by Renegades, they're solidly putting a lot of hurt on Perth Ground Zero. But I mean, even just then, the confidence of Liaz to simply pop a flash and step on Nikez, who had already taken three caps at that point. The confidence they're playing well above and beyond. Void, I like this from him. Just using that smoke to full advantage. I think at the 30 does.
Oh, Void.
That's what they need, Perth Ground Zero.
Yeah, creative lines. Off angles there in mid by Void. Using the smokes to his advantage was great from him. JKS will find that frag onto Skull Hunter, but the man of the moment, Void, finds himself a 4th frag. And will this be an ace? We do have Liaz, who has won a lot of clutches already in this game, including 2 1v3s, maybe even 3. I think, oh no, just the 2 so far already in this game. Ooh, we'll go for the spray. I mean, Jim, I don't know about you, but that looked on.
It did. It looked like it was on, but I mean, sometimes that Counter-Strike Go.
Hey, CS:GO things. I'm with you.
It has other plans. It's just not in. It's just not in God's plan to allow you to have that headshot in that round.
Nope. Gaben came in and said no.
Gabe's
And
plan.
If Gabe says no, you have to accept it. As Perth Ground Zero do get another round on the board, it is going to be a bit of a force buy here coming out from Renegades. We're going to have pistols across the board, other than, I believe it's Jacob on that AK. Skull Hunter taking a leaf out of Renegade's book here and getting very aggressive on A main. Is somewhat supported there from Con. Needs to be very careful though. This is one of those spots where you really need to try to find 2 frags. Will not find one. Liaz, once again, with that CZ. So a lot of pressure here on Extinct to try and make it work. Jacob, the man with the AK, does dispatch of him, and Void trying to work the smokes again. This time Renegades aren't going to fall for it, and oh boy, it's falling apart here for Perth Ground Zero as JKS still handing out free haircuts, still putting in work with that Desert Eagle. And I mean, this is savage, mate. 21 of them.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that one before. I don't know where. I feel like a little bit of history repeating in some of those instances. But JKS, another double dink with the Deagle. And there's some timely reminders that obviously, you know, JKS, when he gets going.
The old double dink Deagle doing the dirty.
Oh, yeah. All day. Some iteration here.
Oh, Liaz. He's so on right now. He is really doing damage here to Ground Zero, and it's going to be Nikez and Void here in a 2v4 situation. They've only got the USPs. It's not really going to be possible for him as Nikez does go down towards window there, and Void on this flank. Look, he'll be looking to try and find, you know, 1 or 2 here potentially. If you can try to recover the gun, I can't exactly remember where it went down, if it was towards A main, but even then, the Renegades will be all over that if they haven't already dispatched of the weapon. And they seem to be quite aware that that's a possibility. Void, though, does find Jacob there with that angle. Azza in perfect position to get that trade. Renegades move up to match point here on Mirage, and Perth Ground Zero will be buying into this round. It won't be a pretty buy. Burn does pull out that AWP, but it's going to be very minimal utility across the board. Probably a couple of FAMASs in there as well.
Yeah, they've managed to put it together. I mean, as you said, it's not anything with that pretty buy swag, but in terms of what they are going to be able to put together, it's going to be enough potentially to win them around, at least if they win their opening duels. But as we said, Perth Ground Zero being beaten to the punch here. Bernie okay.
Ooh, good support there coming out from Extinct with that MP9. Skull Hunter finds the frag on the flanking player of JKS, and just like that, it's a 2v5 situation now for Renegades. Azza has also taken a lot of damage here as well. So great stuff from Perth Ground Zero to keep themselves alive in this game. They're going to need to find 8 more rounds if they're to secure this to potentially send it to overtime. Actually, 7 more if they secure this. My math was 1 off there. But
quick math.
Quick math. That's it. But it's the man of the moment in a 1v4 situation. You cannot rule him out with how he's been playing. Oh, no. Oh, he's going to walk straight past him. The trigger discipline. Is it going to work? No, it's not. Burn with those spidey sensors. Just felt like he needed to check behind him, even though he had a player there. And is able to find that frag. And Liaz will be asking himself, why did he check that?
Yeah, certainly. No doubt. And obviously, Liaz, you know, just trying to gather as much information as he could at that point in time. So for him, it was more about finding out where that second player could potentially be. He found him. He found out where Burn was.
He most certainly did. And Burn gave him an almighty hello. As Burn with that AWP again towards this A-bomb side. It's going to be fast aggression coming out from Renegades here. As Skull Hunter will find the first one. We'll get traded out. Extinct also chimes in with one of his own. And just like that, it's a 3v4 situation. Burn and Extinct doing great work here on this A-bomb side. Nikez spots the last player from short, and the aggressive pushes aren't seeming to be working, or don't seem to be working, should I say, for Renegades here, as Perth Ground Zero do see prepared for that, and Extinct finds himself moving to a 20 bomb here, and Ground Zero slowly clawing their way back on this CT side, so it makes you wonder how this might have been looking had they secured a few more of these T-side rounds.
Yeah, definitely, and you've got to remember at the half it was 12-3, so by that account, it was a really rough half for Perth Ground Zero. But CT side, they've been able to turn it back around, and now on the Deagles, this is still just as dangerous for Perth Ground Zero.
JKS again with that Desert Eagle. Does find the frag on the Skull Hunter. Void gets a trade frag back onto Jacob. Nickez there on short. Doubling up with his teammate there on that B-bomb site. Making sure they're well within trade frag positions. Gratisfaction though. And it's going back and forth here, Jim. A bit of seesaw action on these frags, and the bomb will be recovered now towards top mid. Now Azure has got himself in a prime position here to catch out Void. He really needs to make this frag work.
Oh no.
Ooh, that's not what you want to see. Void gets a bit lucky there to make that work, as it was all over him. Just couldn't connect the shot. And now JKS in a 1v2 situation. Crucially though, he's on 10 HP. So if he's to pull this off, it would be a bit of a miracle here. But if anyone can do it, other than potentially Liaz with the way he's been playing, it is JKS. And oh no,
Surely
he finds
he
the
hits one
first
bullet.
one. Surely not.
Surely not. And that smoke is going to make things very difficult now for Void as he makes his way into this bomb site. But it means he has to reposition.
This is it, Chief.
And this is where potentially Perth Ground Zero could find themselves going down to Renegades in map number 2 of this. And I mean, Gratisfaction certainly has something to say about it.
Absolutely. This is it, Chief, he reckons. And I think I'm going to have to agree with him, as JKS is in the perfect position. Oh, Void. Void's going to stick it. JKS is going to clutch out the 1v2. Renegades pull that map back after a phenomenal first half. Got a little bit away from them in the second half. Ground Zero with their, quite a phenomenal CT side. But JKS secures the match-winning round.
And that'll do it for map number 2 of this best of 3 exhibition. So they will play the third map, and that will be coming up shortly, guys. Do not go anywhere. You do not want to miss that. All right, we are back for map number 3 between Perth Ground Zero and Renegades, played at the Gfinity Esports Arena. And exhibition best of 3, of course. And Renegades have taken the first 2 quite convincingly as well. But Perth Ground Zero really started to show some signs on Mirage that led us to believe that they were making some adaptations and some adjustments of their own, which is good for them, because we said that this was going to be a very good opportunity for them to learn against some of the region's best.
And we are going to see some fast aggression coming out from Renegades here. Down SL, and they will find the opening 2, make that the opening 3 frags here, and oh, Jacob, that's dirty, as Perth Ground Zero have collapsed on this Outers bomb site. It is going to be all on Void. Trade frag comes out there from Gratisfaction. Void does find Azza though, but it's not going to be enough as Renegades open things up as quickly as you like.
Certainly do, and from them, in terms of the pistol rounds, they've been strong, but I mean, they're not messing around going into this second round, and they've got AKs coming out, they've got Glils coming out as well. We haven't even seen an SMG purchase. No, not a single SMG purchased by Renegades whatsoever. So for them, they are not messing around with these anti-ecos.
We've seen Perth Ground Zero do their best stuff on the CT side of both maps, and this time they're actually starting CT side. So hopefully they can find that momentum that they had on the CT side of Mirage and bring it into their CT half here onto Train.
Well, that is
interesting setup coming out from the boys there on low ramp with that taser onto Void. Is it going to come into play though, Jim? We're going to find out here shortly as the Renegades boys are slowly creeping into Brown Halls. We do have 2 players that have pushed up. Oh, they've broken the totem though. They're falling back. Something's happened to draw the rotation back towards this A-bomb site, and it's the lurk from Liaz potentially. I mean, no one's heard him, surely not.
Well, they haven't rotated numbers outside yet. They've heard that smoke go down at Vines, but they haven't made that rotation adjustment thus far. All they've done is broken that cool stack at low ramp, but they're making the call to go inside, and I don't mind this from Perth Ground Zero because that's where the action's going down.
Jacob, he seems ready for this, and he sure is. Void will be taken care of, and that is the taser. Dispatched from the round, and Renegades now rolling out on this B-bomb side. It was stacked by Perth Ground Zero, but it's not going to be enough there. Renegades take the second round.
A little bit of damage done by the pistols of Perth Ground Zero, but a full eco from them means that they're going to buy into this round with M4s, but no need for an upgrade from Renegades' perspective. They already had the AKs. They do have some Glils though, so maybe that could hurt them over the distance. There are some really long angles on Train that you really have to watch out for. You could be punished by the fact that the Glil just doesn't have the accuracy or the damage of the AK. So let's just see whether or not that actually affects Renegades whatsoever. But fast approach coming out from Renegades. A real emphasis being put on Brown Halls early on.
Yeah, look, the M4 buy coming out from Perth Ground Zero. It is rather risky. I would like to see the AWPs come out when possible. I know they couldn't afford it into this round, but very much an AWP map. Train. Of long distance angles, like you pointed out. A little bit of damage coming out onto JKS. More than a little bit of damage coming out to JKS there through the spam. And he won't be standing there again anytime soon. As
actually, that's a really cool little spam, because that's where a lot of the smoke lineups occur from for outside.
Yep. Done their homework, Perth Ground Zero. Got themselves a decent defensive setup here as Renegades look to try and pincer. I believe it's going to be a pincer towards this A-bomb site, but perhaps that spray damage is going to shift the focus back towards B with a fake being sold in here from Vines.
Yeah, the issue is, though, because they bought up early, CT side don't have enough utility to really deal with it. They just have to frag out.
The dry wide peak there from Void will get caught out. Niquez goes for something similar. Not quite as wide, though. We'll find the first one. Before being traded out by Liaz, and crucially, that has actually shifted the defense from the B-bomb site. Extinct caught a little bit of no man's land there, and he will be punished for it, as it will be a 4v2 situation. Liaz has lurked his way all the way through to CD spawn, and the information he would have gathered from that is going to be crucial here, as Skull Hunter and Burn probably going to decide whether or not they're going to save here, and it looks like they probably will.
Yeah, Skull Hunter's got a great position, but it only is going to be a great position if Burn was going to act on anything whatsoever. The fact it's a 4 versus 2, they don't really have any info as to where Renegades are, obviously, because they're not close to Brown Halls whatsoever. Really not worth them going for it, and I think Burn should be able to save here, provided he doesn't lose a duel, but great grenade timing there. He'll hold on to his AK, so City side, they do keep a hold of some weapons, but the rest of the Perth Ground Zero side not really in a position where they're able to buy.
Yeah, look, like you said, they've managed to save the AK and the M4 into this round. The rest of the team, though, is going to have to force up here with some pistols. Not going for the full investment, though. No armor on Extinct and Void. Bit of armor and no head armor on Nikaz here, but they will have enough to buy in the next round, and crucially, they will have that AWP onto Burn, who has just been absolutely deleted there by the utility.
That one AK that they did have with full weaponry, that's gone, been deleted as you said, and that's a pretty heavy loss for Perth Ground Zero so early on in the piece.
Yeah, Burns had a pretty rough series so far. He's sort of copped quite a lot of the brunt of a lot of the strats that Renegades are pulling out here for those early frags.
I think for him though, it's a case of the fact that he is now the in-game leader. So for him, it's about finding out what Renegades are doing, and maybe he's putting himself in positions where he's trying to gather as much information as possible, mainly just for his own learnings as well, but also to benefit the team. And perhaps once he's out of the picture, I know a lot of in-game leaders have done this at some stage, is smarter themselves so they can try and micromanage the rest of their team. Not suggesting he's doing that, perhaps just theorising as to why he's down so early on in the piece. They're going to hit inside bomb site. Extinct finds one with that 5-7 before he's traded out, but they just roll on through Renegades.
Yep, Renegades there with aggressive take on the speed on the side. Will make it work. Skull Hunter with that flank does find JKS, so he's got himself in a good position here. We'll find the second frag on the Gratisfaction. So Perth Ground Zero definitely in this at the moment with Void using that Deagle on Jacob. Collects that AK. 1v2 situation for Liaz, and he's been clutching out hard all day today. As he is aware of Void's positioning, playing very patient here. Knows the defuse is coming in. Oh, the timing. He's going to make this work. He will. He will find that first frag, and he'll find the second one as well. Liaz, you are nutty.
And that is why he is considered to be one of the best players in the region, just in terms of what he offers in his smarts, in his ability to clutch out rounds. But he has a really solid read on the game as to what's happening in these rounds, and that's why when the chips are down and the round is starting to go in the opposition's favour, you can depend on him to pull something out of the hat. And that's exactly what he did there. He played it smart, he just waited out. He had information as to where one of his opposition were, but he needed to just sound it out as to what was going on. And a great clutch from Liaz, as to be expected from a player of his calibre. But Perth Ground Zero, they really need a round on the board. 60-side train, yet to find something. This gun round is their best chance.
They've brought the AWP into the fold. It's in the hands of Burn. Such a crucial gun for this map as well. So they'll be hoping that he can open things up. Skull Hunter playing a very aggressive angle, but is he going to be undone here by the timing? He's turned away as the execute is going to come into this outside bomb site. Flashes and smokes roll out. Void does find the first frag onto JKS. Gratisfaction, Liaz, and Jacob, though, all finding one in return, and it's fallen apart here for Perth Ground Zero as they find themselves in a 2v4 situation. And just like that, dispatched. Void and Extinct will go down. Renegades move to 5-zip here, and that's rough for Perth Ground Zero. They put a lot of investment into that round. They did have the AWP we'll be talking about onto Burn. He wasn't able to put it to work, and they're going to be back onto the pistols here in this round, and they're going to have to ask some questions about the way they're setting up. Renegades having their way with them at the moment, and I mean, given how well they played their CT sides on the other maps, I think this will be a little bit disappointing for them.
Yeah, it is a very bitter pill to swallow, but I mean, you can see Renegades there, they made the adjustments. They had the information that the cities were playing close, and they had those flashes ready to go just to push out. Now, Renegades really made them pay. Oh, Gratisfaction with the bell ringer as he takes down Void with the single bullet, but catch out Burn here as well, just patience finding him that frag. Just on pistols here, Ground Zero, and you can see that they have a great way of gathering information and making those adjustments, making those calls as well. And I did like the adjustment from Ground Zero, funnily enough, in that last round to try and push into connected. They were just punished. Renegades were ready for that adjustment as well. They knew they were playing close, and as soon as those execute smokes came out, that's where they were going to be. They were going to push into those close quarters positions. They had flashes for every situation, and that is the experience of Renegades in a nutshell. And even on that round there, they were grouped up. They let the AKs just sit back and pick poor Perth Ground Zero apart. Now into the double op setup though, Sean.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, if one orb's not working, Try 2. And if 2's not working, well, I mean, that's pretty rough. The investment coming out here from Perth Ground Zero means they really want to try and secure this round. Renegades slowing things up a little bit, spreading out across the map here, and Extinct will find that opening frag on a Gratisfaction, which is a perfect start here for Ground Zero. To a 5v4 situation. Renegades spread very thin across the map here. Not many people in trade positions. No, Liaz, you can't do that. Void opting to go for the smoke spray battle. Does not win out. Burn is there with that AWP. Goes for the repeat. See if he can spot someone out. Meanwhile, the regroup is coming in here towards Brown Horse. Extinct's going to have to hold firm as Renegades look to make a play.
Extinct's just going to try and have to go inside here. He can't do that. The rotation is going to come in, but Burn does take down Azzy T connector as well. So the lurk has been eliminated. That is a good Molotov to just push the CTs around the long way for rotation, but it's just going to try and buy time for Liaz to arrive on site. He had a long way to travel as well. So for them, it's now 2 versus 3, and CT play could be a factor now that Liaz is gone too. So all on JKS, 1 versus 3. He finds the first, but he's looking for that second, and they're going to wait again for Burn to make it work with that double AWP. It has been absolutely capped, and now JKS, he just needs to play time.
Yeah, look, another 1v3 on the cards here for Renegades. If JKS is able to clutch this out, and it looks like he's going to, doing exactly what you said, just playing time. Skull Hunter unable to find that frag, and I mean, if you're Perth Ground Zero, that's a tough loss, that one. That's a... Yeah. I mean, I'd love to know the stats on 1v3s that they've kind of lost in this series so far, because there's quite a few.
Even then, he gets his money for nothing and his AWPs for free, because he was able to pick up that AWP on Burn as he escaped up low ramp too. So throws that straight over to himself, of course. Has the best spawn. He's going to play a spawn-based position, I'd assume. Take a pick onto CT connector and just see if he can open things up. So he doesn't hit that, unfortunately, but force buy coming in from Perth Ground Zero. Skull Hunter makes that AWP work though. An aggressive push at Vines means that they do find an opening here, and they should be able to get a second weapon. There's no one overwatching that right now, so good for Perth Ground Zero thus far. But Gratisfaction actually finds his trade nice and close to Connector and Azza. It's going to be the point man here, but that is not a good flash. Skull Hunter finds another, so that AWP is working for Perth Ground Zero. Extinct also goes down, and they're losing members quickly.
Look, I do like that from Extinct, though. He's tried something different there. He's decided to push up into Brown Horse. He's been caught out in the site a couple of times now, so he's pinned it up to see what can work. Unfortunately for him, that time, it wasn't to pan out. As Renegades are grouping up here towards Brown Horse, I'm expecting to see some utility usage coming out towards this A-bomb site.
Niquez, though, holding inside solid with that AWP, a.k.a. Scout. But that is a great smoke. It's completely bamboozled. It's just pulled Void out of his position. Now, well, some harassment in connector. Niquez does take a lot of damage. 2 versus 2, though. And Jacob and Grat. Oh, Grat being super aggressive.
Oh, Gratisfaction.
Doesn't even need a scope to take down Niquez.
Yep, just dancing around the bomb site there, able to dispatch of both the retaking CTs, and Renegades move to 8-zip here, and Perth Ground Zero don't have any answers at the moment for this T-side aggression from Renegades. Burn will pull out that AWP again. Only 1 frag for the half so far, and for such an impactful player, he's having a hard time on train so far. I wonder if we're going to see any adjustments come out here, Jim. What do you think we need to see from Ground Zero?
I think for them, they're simply being read far too well by Renegades at the moment, particularly when they play those aggressive positions and they're trying to take the aggression to Renegades, should I say. They're being found out. Those aggressive connected positions and are not working for them, so I think they just need to play a little bit more passively in the yard and let Renegades come to them, perhaps back that retake. Try something different in that sense, because it's being outclassed at the moment. But Niquez does find one before he's traded out. 3 versus 4. Perth Ground Zero a disadvantage, even more so now that 3 versus 3 thanks to Jacob. And doing the dance, Gratisfaction has been a real thorn in the side of Perth Ground Zero.
And I mean, every frag that Ground Zero gets, whether they're using off angles or creative lines, nothing's going unanswered. Renegades have a trade or someone in position to find the return frag almost every time, and Burn now finds himself in a 1v3 situation with that AWP, which is notoriously very difficult to retake with. He's just going to try and do some damage here. Oh, Jacob with the hop around the corner, straight into that AK headshot. And I mean, Ground Zero really struggling here on this CT side.
Yeah, certainly are, and even more so now the fact that the economic woes are going to continue. They may opt to force into this one with pistols, but I think for them, in terms of what they need, is just a full buy in this sort of situation. But I mean, by that stage, you're 10 mil down on your second side of the train, which, you know, things aren't going right for you at all. The aggression coming out from Renegades right now, they're happy to just peek out connected, knowing there's nothing to really stop them, no utility whatsoever. And you can see right now they're just rolling through. Because I think it's just now Extinct. He's doing the dance around with Jacob. Jacob's just going to wait this one out. He knows he's something will take him down. So for them, gun round will come out now, and I would presume that they will try something different with those AWPs, and I would expect to see them to just play a little bit more passive. They're going to go their double AWP setup, so Skullhunter and Burn are going to try and turn the tide in their favour, but keen to see how they utilise them.
I mean, you know, passive could be the answer here. The problem with passive, if they set themselves up for retakes on either of the bomb sites with the two AWPs, that's going to be very difficult. What they need is to get the number advantage early. If they can turn this into a 3v5, a couple of early picks, I mean, Burn there tries to get aggressive, does find the first one, but Void's not really in a position to trade him, finds himself a little bit in no man's land there, and just like that, 3v4 situation favouring Renegades.
And that just speaks to the strength in the trading of Renegades as well. They've always, as you said, had someone in position to make that trade. Yeah, even then, find another frag and go on from there. But I think Azza knows what's up here. He gets this kid taken down. So, yeah, they're making predictable reads here, Renegades on Perth Ground Zero, but Extinct keeps the dream alive for a moment.
Ooh, that's the bomb too. So Extinct there gets himself a double. Skullhunter finds Gratisfaction. Jacob now in a 1v2. Is this the moment that Ground Zero can get a CT side round on the board? Jacob, though, does handle Extinct, so it's going to be a 1v1 situation. Jacob on that AK, Skullhunter on that AWP, and there it is. The double AWP setup has worked out for him. Burn does get one before get trading out, but 2 frags there for Skullhunter and 2 from Extinct on the rotate from B. Has got him on the board here, Jim.
It has, but it's a very expensive win for Perth Ground Zero. It came down to a 1 versus 1 on that CT side, and they pretty much depleted their entire money stocks in this round, having to rebuy everything, even Skullhunter having to drop a weapon across. So for them, it's not good news if they can't string another round together here, and for them, it's going to come very difficult. But I like this push coming out from Vines. It gets a lot of information, but need to be careful, though, you don't overextend yourself with that AWP. I think Skullhunter's the one that's on the point at the moment, and I think Liaz knows he's there, so this is going to be an interesting duel.
Yeah, just waiting each other out towards Vines. That's great stuff there, as Azza will find Burn. Void actually gets a trade back, which is great. Skullhunter surely knows he's there. Liaz super patient here. Meanwhile, the trades are going back and forth towards the bomb site. Skullhunter will eventually win out on that duel. It's going to be a 3v2 situation favouring Perth Ground Zero. The bomb making its way towards Brown Horse here. JKS throwing some utility out of SL. Seeing if he can create an opening towards this A bomb site. Perth Ground Zero sending all their players now towards inside. I think they've picked up on that. The rotation is coming through. Back towards inside, and it's going to be Skullhunter on that AWP. Now he's gone wide, too high ramp. JKS and Jacob here, wandering their way onto the bomb site. Now they'll take the bomb site somewhat uncontested. Skullhunter just missing out the timing there, but I think they're aware of the situation. Oh, you have to hit those shots, Skullhunter. Molotov will come through. He's using all the mechanics in CSGO he can in the form of crouching to try and make it work, but eventually gets taken down by Jacob, and just like that, the number advantage whittles away, and Renegades secure the round, and that's going to do a lot of damage to the economy here at Perth Ground Zero. They will not be able to buy into this next round. They have lost the lost bonus.
Yeah, they've lost that lost bonus. They've lost that loving feeling as well. And
now it's gone. It's gone. Whoa, whoa. As
We're gonna
Renegades...
go into a Top Gun singing scene, are we? The bar scene from Top Gun.
Hey, look, don't tempt me, Jim. You know what happens when I'm sitting on the desk with you. Crazy things can happen. As we are going to watch Renegades now get a little bit aggressive here towards those brown whores. Utility does go out. Niquez, though, with that P250, does find the first one. Actually gets the second one there before being traded. JKS and Liaz, though, puts a stop to any shenanigans coming out from Perth Ground Zero. It's all going to be on Extinct here with that 5-7. He does have armor, though, but there is no kit. As he makes his way around towards back of old bomb, he's not going to spot anyone out. Renegades, however, are in great positions here in the post plant. Ooh, the jump across happens. The bunny hop on top of the tray may have saved him. Extinct, though, on to JKS. Finds the first one. Not going to find any more, though. Gratisfaction does take care of him with that AWP. And oh, this is a rough half for Perth Ground Zero. The one round they were able to secure was off the back of the double AWP. They haven't been able to...
Yeah.
Obviously, the following round, they weren't able to double AWP again. They'd lost 3 players. It
Well, they
affected
lost
the
4.
economy.
Yeah, they
And
can't
now-
go to 1v1.
Well, it's true, actually. They lost 4, so that really affected their economy. And then since losing that round then, they lost the loss bonus, like we pointed out. And they're now struggling to really get a bye together to close out this half.
Well, they're hard reset, and this is that second round of reset coming out as a result. And, you know, CT living ain't easy, particularly in Sydney right now, with those premiums being placed on
Inflation,
weaponry,
mate.
rent, all of the above. And, you know, life as a CT right now is pretty rough, particularly if you're in Perth Ground Zero's roster.
I mean, Extinct here in the 1v5. He might as well go for it. Doing the dance there on the ladder, trying to draw out the player.
No.
Does a pretty good job. Look, mate, if you can win this Extinct, you'll be all over Reddit. And nope.
Yeah. No chance for him in that round, really. Renegades, they all had intentions of being in SL as well. And 13 won the score. It's, I guess, just a question now of whether or not they can make this gun round work. They want to give themselves the best possible chance. I like the fact that they knew they would go into this round potentially with some light utility. So some teams in that sort of situation, when they're hard reset, will just opt to force their way out of the round, or of the half, should I say, in knowing that they might only get one good gun round out, chance their hand at 3 half buys. But for them, Perth Ground Zero now, need to make this gun round work.
Look, I do like the fact that they're not doing any silly 50-50 plays. It can be really easy for them to devolve into a full side stack.
Jeez.
They're still sticking to their setups and finding out what's working and what's not working, and using this opportunity against Renegades to really, I guess, get some solid practice in as far as what they're doing and what's working and what's not working. And look, I didn't have much faith in them in this round. Without any AWPs on train CT side, it can be very difficult, particularly for Perth Ground Zero, whose only round they've managed to secure is off the back of the 2 AWPs. Extinct now finds himself in a 1v2 situation. Now, he's been playing really well. Actually finds himself the other frag, turns this into a 1v1. He's taken a lot of damage, though, and Gratisfaction, far too solid on that AWP, will lock down the round. So, look, they did depend into a 1v1 off the back of the M4s, but that's a rough half, Jim. That's a real rough half for Perth Ground Zero. They're going to need to get the pistol here and mount mammoth comeback if they are to sort of bring this back. But, yeah, it's going to be a tough ask.
Yeah, it is going to be a really tough ask for them. And I think, as you said, you know, in this exhibition for them, it's more of a learning experience and opportunity to find out the weaknesses in their own game. So for them, I think they'll find that, you know, they need to have a few more years that they can go through on that CT side of train, because Renegades just had their number every time they were making the adjustments. They had players sitting in those white doors. They knew whether or not Perth Ground Zero were playing close in the yard or very far away, and they had an estimate. They had people in position to make the trades. And we spoke about it so many times that the strength of Renegades trading was far superior to Perth Ground Zero's, and particularly, you know, a lot of those situations where people would push. I like the fact that Perth Ground Zero, despite the fact that you know, things weren't working for them, they were trying a range of different setups and a range of different pushes as well. So it's not as though they were running their head against the wall repeatedly. They were trying to make some changes and adjustments as well.
Yeah, and they weren't YOLO adjustments in the sense they weren't just throwing their, you know, game plan to the wind. They were trying different things that had the potential to really work for them based upon what was actually, you know, what Renegades were putting forward. And I like that. I like the fact that they were testing what they had and ideas that they had, as opposed to just, say, stacking one site and going for that 50-50 play. We are going to see a very aggressive inside push. JKS in prime position. Actually gets the bomb planter there. Does get traded out pretty quickly by Skull Hunter. Nikez finds 2 there with the aggressive push to back of trains. And can he find more? I think he will. Azza going for a stroll towards CT spawn. And Nikez with that 4K. Great pistol work from him. And Renegades, I think, caught a little bit off guard there.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that the CT side, or should I say the T side, didn't just sit back in the yard. They were happy to push, and you need to do that on a round where you don't have a lot of utility. The smoke did come in, sat on the hump, and would have blocked the vision of the CT rotation coming through. But use that to their full advantage, Perth Ground Zero, and pushed up and got in the face of Renegades.
I mean, that's you got to do that with those Glocks, closing the gap against the USBs, particularly against a team like Renegades, and any other kind of world-class team that has that really high-level aim is very important. As JKS, though, with the aggressive push, they're going to have a scout and a couple of SMGs come out here on Renegades. They ain't messing about. They want to finish this game now. And boy, oh boy, was that an aggressive push towards inside, but Void there, that MP5, is able to find the trade back. Liaz with the Desert Eagles trying to do whatever he can to keep this locked down, but Void will also find him. That's 2 for him in this round on the SMG. JKS now in a 1v3 situation. He's only got 24 health. Going to be incredibly difficult for him here, and I believe Skull Hunter was holding that line. No, timing, surely not. I'm not going to count my chickens, but JKS has managed to lurk his way right forward. In fact, this is actually good for Ground Zero. No one's given themselves up. There's no easy 1v1. Oh, no. JKS going for the money play there, and is going to go straight onto that bomb. Doesn't have a kit, so it will be a full 10-second defuse. Oh, no. Not like this. Oh, Nikez, with that AK, is able to dispatch of Justin. JKS, should I say, who did get himself a 3K there, so that round was very close, and Perth Ground Zero able to stay alive here, locking down that round, but it was quite expensive as far as lives are concerned, and Nikez, off the back of that 4K on pistol, and then a couple of good frags there, has moved to 18-15. So he's definitely putting numbers on the board there for Perth Ground Zero. However, Burn having another rough one here for the boys in green.
Yeah, full eco coming out from Renegades, other than those grenades that just went straight into T-connector. I say full eco, they just updated no armor, but Nikez finding another 2 to his total as well. But this is a round where Renegades are just trying to get their economy back on track, and for them it's just about seeing whether or not they can pilfer some weaponry from their opposition. As are now left in a 1 versus 5. And he will be taken down, but Perth Ground Zero now perhaps just starting to gain some momentum and some confidence taken from those early rounds, but this is going to be their test. The gun round coming out as to whether or not they can keep Renegades from getting onto match point.
Renegades bringing out that AWP on the greatest faction, so this will be the full buy. They've got a fair amount of utility on the board there as well, with a nice plethora there of smokes and Molotovs. So Perth Ground Zero can't afford to drop any more rounds from here. They are opting to take that bomb towards inside. A bit of Brownhall's control early. Potentially a pincer here onto this A bomb site from SL. Greatest faction does open things up on the Burn though. There's no real follow-up from that. So Burn has given himself away towards this A bomb site. He did pull a slight rotation out of JKS towards A, but as of now, in that SL, goes straight up the ladder, spots out another player. I was going to say, somehow gets out of there with his life, but nope, Extinct does put an end to that, and it's going to be a 3v5 situation now for Perth Ground Zero. JKS in prime position to defend that inside bomb site. Ground Zero look a little bit hesitant here.
But Jacob's in such an information-based position, pushing up into SL almost immediately after Azza died, so he's got the information as to where they're moving and if they're moving quickly, because they either had to filter through him to get into that outside bomb site to provide a pincer, or they have to leg it all the way around through Whitehall's there, back through spawn to T-connectors. So he's going to be sounding it out for Renegades right now, just sitting in SL, and he knows that there's nothing moving, and either they're just chewing up time or going through, but there is a lurk coming out, and it has been eliminated by Gratis Faction. So that means the inside site has got to go, and they are going to check that spindle. JKS, though, does get taken by Skull Hunter, who's been playing quite well, actually, for a player that was brought into the side at the last second. But Gratis Faction finds one. It's now all on to Skull Hunter, who falls quite quickly. And Renegades will bring up match point, but there was some signs there where Perth Ground Zero could have turned things back in their favour.
Yeah, look, it was that AWP on Gratisfaction. He gets himself a 3-piece in that round. And, I mean, it just goes to show how important those AWP plays are on the CT side. And something that, you know, Perth Ground Zero were able to utilize for one round on the T side, but weren't able to get any more than the one. So Renegades here move to match point. It's going to be all on Perth Ground Zero to not drop a single round from here on out. They have brought an AWP of their own in onto Burn, who hasn't had much impact in this game so far, so maybe this is the round he can make it all start to work. JKS, though, going very aggressive towards B-Horse. Skull Hunter was not expecting that at all. Utility in hand, will be caught out. Burn does find the AWP pick, though, but aggressive pick from Gratisfaction, standing in the molly. Zero fear there. Did actually spot the bomb out as well, so that information is going to be crucial for the Renegades boys here as Nikez lurks his way in between the trains. Will get traded out, though, after finding Azza. And just like that, 2v3 situation for Perth Ground Zero. This could be all she wrote, or is it? Burn starting to pop off at the last minute, and Void closes things out. Perth Ground Zero put another round on the board.
Very, very close round again. And I think that speaks to just the ability of Renegades, as we said, to trade. And the rounds that Perth Ground Zero are winning, they're only winning by slim margins. They're only winning in 1v1 sort of situations, particularly as we saw on that CT side. It really hurt them in that instance. But here on the T side, things are a little bit easier. They did afford themselves a buy coming out. But this is a real ghetto buy coming out from Renegades here. And there's shotgun with Nova, which the swag 7 by Az has been taken down. But Jake can
Void. Been a free haircut there from Jacob, and it's going to be a 4-4 situation. Nikez unable to make that frag work, and JKS will find a frag on a Skull Hunter. Trades going back and forth here, but it's fallen apart for Ground Zero. Burn finds himself in a 1v3 situation with that AWP. It's going to be incredibly difficult. He does have the bomb, but he's been spotted out in SL. And watch now as Renegades will swarm on him here.
That's so smart, smoking low ramp there, JKS.
Yeah. Burn perhaps feeling like something doesn't feel right. Is waiting to get pushed on. Good discipline here from Renegades. Not giving him any easy 1v1s.
I know where he is. Oh no, he's going to have to do the dance here and things get awkward. This is like a first date.
Yeah, he needs to make that frag work. Unable to find it at the moment. The discipline from Renegades, like I just mentioned, is great. No one's really giving themselves up. A little bit of a dance going on here on the ladder. I see you've played Knifey Spoony before. That's Gratisfaction. He's going to go for the knife. It isn't going to work out, though. Burn will make that frag work. JKS, though, will lock down the round, and it will be Renegades quite comfortably in the end. There was some signs of life on the T side for Perth Ground Zero, but on the CT side, I should say, but that T side was very rough for them.
It was, and you know, as we said, Renegades just showed their pedigree for, you know, being one of the best teams in the region. And I think, you know, from Perth Ground Zero's perspective, they'll take a lot of lessons out of this exhibition, and for them, it'll mean that they'll be better for it. And I think we'll see that flow on into the Gfinity Elite Series. So thank you for your time, thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon at the Gfinity Esports Arena.
Look at your Perth Ground Zero. Welcome to the big leagues, boys. But Burn, once again, doing magic work with that AWP, and Extinct's also able to find 2 as well. Leaz finds himself in a 1v3. Perth Ground Zero, second round on the board.
Playing against the Renegades in the show match was honestly, like, for me, I was super grateful for it. You very rarely get those kind of opportunities to play against teams that are top 20 in the world.
Without saying cheesy, a dream come true. It's like Renegades is the team you want to be playing. Like as an Australian team, they're the staple roster.
As soon as we got the offer to come and do it, it was a no-brainer from us. Really amazing experience there. Obviously, levels above anyone in Australia at the moment.
Leaz versus Nikaz, able to close it out with that AK.
A clinical display from Renegades from start to finish.
And playing a team yesterday was really good because we just needed some practice. We hadn't played for a couple of days, and it was good that, you know, Perth were able to give us some maps. So it was really, really good to see that, you know, the way the stage is set up with the correct sort of gear. It's the same gear we use at home.
Having this, like back 5 years ago when I was playing pro at like top level in Australia, we had nothing like this. I mean, we were playing for like a LAN for $1,000 in a warehouse or something like that. So coming to now where it's like in front of a crowd and on a stage like this, it's crazy to see, and it's just going to keep improving esports for the better for sure.
Everything that can help like the scene back here in Australia as well to grow is a good step, yeah, in the right way. It's very important. Who knows, maybe one of these guys we are playing versus today in 1 year is playing for Renegades, who knows? And then you're on the big stage.